welcome to our first preschool gymnastics session. I hope you're all excited. We're going to do some basic shaping and basic gymnastics positions around today's theme, Mr. Men characters. So I hope you're ready. We're going to do 4 characters to get our heart rate going. Mr. Fast, hands on hips, Mr. Bounce, big jumps. Arms up in the air for Mr. Tall, walking on tiptoes. And Mr. Muddle, 1 leg hops each leg. Are we ready? Each character is going to be 20 seconds. Here we go.
Mr. Rush was the fastest thing on 2 legs. He used to rush here and there and here and back again, all the time. And of course, he was always in such a rush that he never ever finished anything properly. Can you rush like Mr. Rush like you are now with your high knees? Keep it going as long as possible, just like Mr. Rush. Oh dear, Mr. Rush.
And stop there. Hands up in the air. Hands on your hips for Mr. Bounce. Go!
Mr. Bounce was very small, and like a rubber ball, he just couldn't keep himself on the ground. He bounced all over the place, a bit like you now, jumping up and down. And yes, as you can imagine, that made things rather difficult. Keep bouncing, boys and girls. Feet together and point your toes. Well done. Keep it going.
And stop there. Well done. Now we're going to be Mr. Tall. High on your tiptoes and walking back and forth.
Mr. Tall was very, very, very tall. Quite the tallest person you've ever met. In fact, quite the tallest person you've never met. Because you've never met anyone with legs as tall as Mr. Tall, have you? Are you as tall as Mr. Tall right now?
Well done. Now hopping on 1 leg with Mr. Muddle.
Poor Mr. Muddle just couldn't get anything right.
Switch legs.
Everything he did, everything he tried, everything he said was a muddle. Totally, utterly, completely, absolutely muddled. Hopping on 1 leg to school. Oh dear, Mr. Muddle, just walk with 2 legs. Keep hopping just like Mr. Muddle, boys and girls.
And stop there. Well done. We're going to do 4 shapes. And say aloud with me. That's sit down on the floor. I will show you the shapes first. Number 1, tuck. Number 2, pike, point your toes. Number 3, straddle, hands in the air. And number 4, hands behind you and lift your hips. We're going to do that 3 times. Are you ready? And say aloud with me. Here we go. Tuck, pike, straddle, back support. 1, 2, 3. And here we go. And again. Tuck, pike, straddle, hands behind you, back support. And last one, here we go. Tuck, pike, straddle, feet together, point your toes, back support. Well done, give yourself a clap. Now, I don't know if you've heard of a character called Little Miss Hug. So, Little Miss Hug likes to give everyone a hug. So what we're going to do, you're going to have your arms out to the side and give yourself a hug. Arms straight and rock back and sit up. But don't put your hands on the floor. We're going to do that 4 times with Little Miss Hug. Here we go. In your tuck, arms to the side. Little Miss Hug gives you a hug. Sit in that tight tuck shape. Arms straight, rocks back. And sit up. Well done. Now for number 3. Little Miss Hug gives you a hug. Nice tight hug in your tuck. Arms straight, rock back. And sit up. Well done. 2 more. Little Miss Hug gives you a hug. Squeeze your knees and tight head in. Arms straight, rock back. And sit up. Well done. And last one. Little Miss Hug gives you a hug. Arms straight. Big tuck. And sit up. Well done indeed. Now we're going to do our next shape. Can you remember what this is called? If you said straddle, well done. We're going to do Mr. Greedy 3 times. So pick up your fork, pick up your knife, and let me show you what we're doing first. And we're going to eat the food in your fridge, touch your toes, and back up again, and touch your other toe, and back up again. Then fork and knife down, into hands behind you, lift up really tall, because I'm sure you have a big belly from eating all that food. 3 times. Here we go. Pick up your fork, pick up your knife, because Mr. Greedy is going to eat whatever's in your fridge. And here we go. Touch your toes. 1, 2, 3. Back up again. Oh, lovely. And back down to your other toe. 1, 2, 3. And back up again. Put your fork and knife down. Oh, I'm getting a little full. And I'm very full. Mr. Greedy, lift your hips, has a big belly. 1, 2, 3, and back down again. Mr. Greedy is ever so greedy, so he's coming back for a second course. Pick up your fork, pick up your knife. Here we go. Let's see what Mr. Greedy has for a second course. And eat all the way down to your toes. 1, 2, 3, and back up again, down to your other toe. 1, 2, 3, stretch back up. Oh, second course. Oh my goodness. Sit back in your pike. Hands behind you. Lift up your big tummy, because Mr. Greedy's now had 2 courses. Wow. Give your belly a rub and sit back in your straddle. Throw your fork away, throw your knife away. Mr. Greedy now wants dessert, but he hasn't got 1 spoon, he's got 2 spoons. 1 for gobbling up ice cream and the second for gobbling up jelly. Here we go, we're going down to the middle. Copy me. Jelly and ice cream all the way down, reach. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up again, well done. 3 courses, wow. Now hands behind you, because Mr. Greedy's got a big belly. Ooh. Oh, Mr. Greedy, 3 courses, oh my goodness. Now Mr. Greedy has a next door neighbour, and he's ever so lazy. So, Mr. Lazy needs to get up in the morning. So you're going to pretend to be Mr. Lazy. Watch me first. and be very lazy. And you're going to sit up and reach for your toes. We're going to do that 4 times. Here we go. Mr. Lazy is ever so lazy. He tries to get up in the morning. Reach up and sit up. Touch your toes. Don't put your hands on the floor. Well done. 1. Mr. Lazy tries to get up, but because Mr. Lazy is ever so lazy, he has to lie back down. And lie back down. And back up again. Come on, Mr. Lazy. Up, 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 up. And touch your toes. Well done. And stretch up because it's morning. But Mr. Lazy just can't get back up, so lay back down. And point your toes and stretch. And relax. Mr. Lazy's ever so lazy. He tries to get back up again. Come on, back up, and reach for your toes. Chin in. Touch your toes. Well done. Mr. Lazy just can't face the day. He lays back down, back to bed, but realises he has to get up, so reach up for your toes. Well done indeed. Mr. Lazy's so lazy, it takes him 4 attempts to get out of bed. Did you manage it? If you did, well done. Right, now we're going to go on an adventure. Now you will need either your rope or piece of string. If you don't have a rope or string, don't worry, you can imagine a line that you're going to put on the floor. Here we go. So put your line on the floor. And we're going to go on an adventure with Mr. Forgetful. Can we help Mr. Forgetful find his way home along this magical line? I hope we can. Here we go. Stand at the beginning of your line. And luckily for Mr. Forgetful, he's just bumped into Mr. Bounce. And Mr. Bounce says we have to bounce across the mountain to find his way home. So stretch up tall, hands on your hips, and we're going to bounce along the line. Okay, we're going to do that 10 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you manage to bounce across the mountains? Thank goodness, Mr. Bounce. I'm sure I'm almost home. But he's not almost home, because luckily he bumps into Mrs. Small. And Mrs. Small says we have to go under the dark cave. So on your line, duck down like Mrs. Small and walk along your magical rope or line. Here we go, 10 times. 1, 2, oh, it's ever so scary. 3, under the caves. 4, don't put your hands on the floor, it's all damp and dirty. 5, 6, oh my goodness. 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch up because we can see the light. Well done. Now I think I can almost see my way home. So Mrs. Helpful is here because she says you have an awful lot of gates to jump over. So she's going to help us jump the gates. So we put our hands on the floor, hands over your line, and you're going to jump over the gate 10 times. Hands over the gate and big bunny hop over 10 times. Here we go. Hands over the gate, 1. Hands over the gate, arms super straight. Jump over, 2. Hands over the gate, jump over, 3. Hands over the gate, 4. Keep going. These are ever so high gates. Hands over, 5. Arms super straight. Hands over the gate, 6. Hands over the gate, 7. Hands over the gate. We're almost there, crew. This is a big one. 9. Last one. Whoa. 10. Well done there indeed. Now we are almost there. I can see the house. Luckily, little Miss Silly is here to help. Hands on your hips, and we're going to do 10 skips. Point your toes, 1, 2. Here we go, over the meadows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done. Mr. Forgetful, ever so forgetful, has had lots of help. And now he's home. So if you manage to do all of those activities, you have helped Mr. Forgetful get home. You should be proud. Well done. Now, Mr. Forgetful in his back garden is building a vegetable patch with lots of carrots, tomatoes and potatoes. But he doesn't have the strength. So he's calling on his next door neighbour, Mr. Strong, to help him move some wooden planks to help him build his vegetable patch. Can we build it? Being Mr. Strong, flex your muscles. Here we go. Watch me first. Being Mr. Strong, knees and hands, arms super straight. We're going to push up to get those planks to next door and back down again. 4 times to build his vegetable patch. Here we go. Hands on the floor and knees off the ground. Push those planks up in the air. 1. Well done. Back down. Push those planks up in the air. 2. Well done. We're ever so strong. Push those planks up in the air. 3. Excellent. And back down. Push those planks up in the air. 4. And hold. 1, 2, 3. And back down. Wow, if you managed all of that, you have built Mr. Forgetful's vegetable patch. So now we need to put the vegetables in the vegetable patch. Can we help? We're going to go into our press up position. Watch me first. And grab a potato and reach and put it in. And the other hand, reach for some carrots and push it in the vegetable patch. 4 times. Imagine your own vegetables that you want to plant. Here we go. Reach for some carrots, put them in the vegetable patch. Switch your hand, reach for some potatoes, put them in the vegetable patch. Reach for some tomatoes, and put them in the vegetable patch. And reach for some broccoli and put them in the vegetable patch. If you managed all of that with one hand and the other, then you completed Mr. Forgetful's vegetable patch. Well done. That's the day for our end of our preschool lesson. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you for tuning in and miss you all. Bye.